So I can't remember what day it was. It was either
They all
Tuesday,
blur, my man.
Wednesday. Yeah, for especially this week for me. But Arenado like waved his nose trade, and then all of a sudden he was like, "Oh wait, no, I'm blocking it." So Arenado blocks his trade to the Astros, and it came out that he wants to wait until later in the offseason. So even though it's almost inevitable that he's going to get traded, he's almost seems like he's treating this like free agency a little bit. He's like, I'm going to let the offseason develop, and then my agent, which got permission from my team to talk to other teams, will make a decision from there. We'll get to the Astros a little bit more in a bit because they made another signing today that I was like, okay, didn't really see that one coming either. But what does this tell you about Arenado going forward? Like, where do you think the best chance for him to go? He said his wish list teams were the Yankees, the Angels, and the Dodgers. So the Angels, I'm guessing, is a hometown thing. Is he from California?
That's home for him.
Okay, so that would be.
He grew up just outside of LA,
that makes sense. Yeah, and then I think he said he would
weren't Red Sox and Phillies on his list
for.
Too?
I think it was Red Sox, Phillies, and might have been Mets.
Yeah,
I don't know. There was another team in there that he would waive his no trade for. But where do you see him ending up at this point? I know there's still a lot to kind of fall into place before we bring it back up, but
I mean, I think Arenado's being smart. I think Arenado realizes that he's got what 3 or 4 years left in that contract, and that's likely going to be the end for him. So he's trying to go somewhere where he can win, which I can appreciate. And I think that I don't see the Red Sox as a fit for him really anymore. I thought that would work, but I just don't see Devers moving, and I think that would cause enough of a kind of a battle within that organization. It's not worth making Rafael Devers, who's really your franchise player, angry. The Phillies are stuck in this Alec Boehm cycle of not being able to find a trade partner for him. I don't know what happens there. So I think in the end he's going to have to settle for a trade to like an Anaheim just to get out, or be open to other teams. I thought the Astros were a great fit for him. And I wouldn't rule the Astros out. They may come back around because they're going to need a third baseman because clearly they are miles apart with Alex Bregman. That's not going to happen. I see one or two scenarios. I see Arenado settling to go to like an Anaheim just to be closer to home, and that's assuming the Anaheim can even put together a trade for him, or I see him in St. Louis and then they revisit this at the deadline, see if there's somewhere else to send him. But I think given where they're at, I don't know how strong a market there is going to be for Arenado. And I don't think the Cardinals really asking for a lot right now. I think it's just they realize they're going to go a different direction and rebuild. Let's take care of him on the way out. Let's find a place for him to go play. Let's get something back in return. And let's not be greedy here, because it seems like what they're asking for is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, and I think they're going to face that same Cody Bellinger hurdle with the money, because what we looked at, it was at 32.5 a year, I think, for Arenado. So there's possibility that the money becomes an issue and the Cardinals are going to have to send cash with him, depending on, again, what the trade package is.
Yeah. Back. So his contract, he is, let's see, 25, 20. So he got 3 more years left on that contract. He's a free agent after the 27 season, heading into 28 at $25.5 million. And there's $3 million. There's a chunk of that's deferred. But I mean, 25.5 is not a bad number for a guy that does what he does. Now, granted, he is clearly on a decline, as we've seen. But it's not a terrible contract. It's not an untradeable contract like some of these. And I think a team could spend $25.5 million worse than on Arenado.